Today on Stock Charts in Focus, we're turning you into the stock picking, index beating, market wizard that you've always wanted to be. We're going to show you how to find the highest probability stocks, the highest probability setups out there in the market, really in just one click. Using our sample scan library, you're going to be able to find stocks making new highs across multiple time frames. You get to choose it. You get to take your own preferences, your own style, and fuse it into this system. But in one click, you'll be able to find stocks making new highs on their way up to being big winning trades. So it's all new. It's all here. It's Stock Charts in Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to Stock Charts in Focus, our product focus show here on the channel, where we dig into the site, dive into the tools, walk through those features, and ultimately help you get more value out of stock charts. That's our mission here every Friday up on the channel. My name is Grayson, Director of Operations here at StockCharts.com. Wonderful to be back in the saddle with you for what I think is going to be a very exciting episode. One of my favorite little hidden gems that we've released on the site in the last couple years, our sample scan library. We hear this from a lot of people. I see the power of the stock charts scanning engine, being able to take my own criteria, whether it's technical or fundamental, and search the markets in one single go for stocks and ETFs and other securities that fit that criteria. But there's a big learning curve to it. I don't know how to write those scans. I don't really know how to do what I'm trying to do. How can you help me? How can I get started with scanning? Those are some of the things that we hear from users a lot. And so in response to that, we released something called our sample scan library. We took some of the most popular, the most powerful, the most useful scans out there that we know people run. Some of them actually handpicked from my own process, some of the scans that I personally love to run. And we put them on a page that allows you to run those scans in one click. You don't have to write any scan syntax. You don't have to do any custom scan coding or setup or anything like that. One click, one big green button. You get to pick the scans that you want to run and run those right away. It is a very, very powerful feature. Now, there's also some great things built into that page. If you do want to take those scans and start to customize them, make them your own, you can do that as well. But the key, what we're going to talk about on the show today, we're going to show you how to run these scans right from that sample scan library to find stocks making new highs. These are the stocks that have the highest probability of turning into big winning trades. They're moving higher. They're likely to continue to move higher, and you get to find them in just one click. We're going to show you how. So let's jump over to the site and get it going. We're kicking off today's show with something a little bit different. We're going to start with a chart because I want to talk to you for a second about why we are doing this show today. There's been a lot of talk about NVIDIA recently, right? Big monster winner, one of the big trades that has come out of the last couple of decades, really. A monster stock that's becoming one of the biggest in the S&P 500. What I want to do, though, is pull up a long-term chart like we have here of NVIDIA. This is a 25-year chart. At the very top, you can also see a relative strength line against the S&P 500. So how is NVIDIA outperformed or underperformed SPY, the S&P 500 ETF? What you can see on this chart, again, 25 years worth of NVIDIA, outperformed the S&P 500 by over 25,000%. This is a huge run. And this is a log scale chart. So this is kind of adjusted for percentage terms, right? But as you can see over the last 25 years, what NVIDIA has done to turn into that huge winner of a stock, it's gone up. It's made new highs on a ton of them. It's made new 3-month highs, new 6-month highs, new 9-month highs, new 52-week highs, and a big series of all-time highs. We can see NVIDIA sitting right up here now around all-time highs. This is a stock that has become a big winner by moving higher. That is what every single big winning stock has done in history. The one characteristic that every single big winning stock shares is that it's made a series of new highs. If you don't believe me, let's jump over to something like Apple, another huge winner, right? 25-year chart of Apple. Well, how has Apple outperformed the market by over 10,000%? It's done that by going up and going up a lot. It's done that by making a series of new highs along the way for a long period of time. Let's look at something like Google. Hasn't been public for all 25 years, but you can see that from the time that Google went public in 2004, it's outperformed the market by over 700%, and it's done that by making a series of new highs. Something like Home Depot, let's say, new highs. Amazon, let's say, new highs. Let's take Eli Lilly, another stock that's in the news a lot right now, becoming one of the largest in the S&P 500. Again, new highs. Now we can also see that for a stock like Eli Lilly, what this has done is it's broken out to new highs and then continued to move higher. So it's a combination of making new highs and trending that leads to these big winning stocks becoming some of the monster trades out there in market history. So that's what we're going to do. That's going to be the basis for today's show. We're taking this, using it as inspiration. Again, we're trying to find those big winning trades, the next big winners that have the highest probability of continuing to move higher, continuing to be winning stocks, and to do that for a long period of time. Again, the characteristic that all of these big winning trades share is that they make new highs. So on the show today, that's where we're focused. We're going to show you how easy it is to find stocks making new highs. To do that, we are going to jump over to our charts and tools page. So from the top of any page around the StockCharts website, hit charts and tools. That'll take you over to our directory of everything that is on the StockCharts platform. Now, as you scroll down this page, again, you'll see all of the different tools and features that we have. But under member tools, that's where you're going to find the key for today's show. That's going to be our sample scan library. So last year, we released these two new features to help you get kind of up and running with some of the key features on StockCharts. Of course, we also have our sample chart gallery, which gives you a collection of pre-built charts that you can start using right away without having to set anything up. We did the exact same thing for scanning. Again, a lot of people want to get started with scanning. They want an easy way to do it. This is that solution, the sample scan library. So come on over to the charts and tools page, look for that sample scan library, hit browse, and you'll be off to the races. So let's talk for a second about what this page does, and then we'll get into the meat of today's show, talking about how to find those new highs, those highest probability trades. The sample scan library, again, lets you run these scans in just one click. So as you scroll through here, you'll see that we've actually organized the page by a whole bunch of different categories. And then there are a couple categories, sort of subcategories within each one of those as well. So you've got technical indicators. All of these scans can be run in just one click. If you've heard about any of these, you've wanted to run a scan for these kinds of things, but you didn't know how to actually kind of write that syntax, write that scan code, this is the solution. You don't have to worry about writing anything. You can just come on over here and run any of these scans. If you want improving Chaikin money flow, or you want parabolic SAR buy signals, again, just look for those green buttons, find the scan that's intriguing to you, and hit run. You can search for specific candlestick patterns, like a bullish engulfing pattern. If you're trading on the short side, you could also look for some bearish reversal patterns, different things like that. Bearish P&F patterns. You've got bullish and bearish patterns down here as well. So it's a large collection of sample scans. The other thing is that we're constantly adding to this. So actually in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see another round of new additions to this sample scan library. But constantly changing, constantly growing. And again, the idea is that it makes it very easy to run or edit any of these existing scans. We've also got a group down here called From the Experts. And actually, there's a whole bunch of scans, as you can see, with my name in it. So once we get into kind of the meat, talking about the new high scans and everything that we're going to run, we'll also jump down here, show you why these matter as well. But again, any of these can be run by clicking that green button. Or if you want to use these as kind of a starter to create your own custom scans, you can also do that. Hit that edit button. That'll pull in that syntax right into the workbench and actually let you edit that scan, either save it to your account or do anything that you want with it. So nice and handy having that right there for you. So let's jump back up to the top of the show today. Again, I mentioned highest probability trades, and you can find them in just one click. Remember, every big winning stock in history has shared one key characteristic. They have made new highs for a long period of time. So where we're going to focus on today's show is under technical indicators. The first thing right up at the top of this page is the new highs scan. I mentioned that you can do this for different time frames. We've added these new highs scans for a couple of different key time frames that people typically search for. Of course, new all-time highs, one of the strongest, most bullish things that any single security can do is make a new all-time high. By definition, if something is trading at a new all-time high, it has some level of strength to it. So new all-time highs, you can quickly find the securities that are making those simply by clicking on this green button right here. A little bit narrower from there, we've got new 52-week highs. So might not be trading at their all-time highest price ever in history, but over the last year, these are stocks that are making a new 1 year or new 52-week high. Again, all you have to do is hit run to see all of the stocks that are making new 52-week highs. We can do the exact same with new 9-month highs, 6-month highs, and 3-month highs. Now, these lists are going to grow the sort of further that we go down in here. So, the key there is that a new 3-month high obviously is also going to be a new 6, 9, and 52-week high, as well as, of course, possibly a new all-time high. So anything that fits in here is kind of going to fit all the way down. So these lists will grow as you go. But you get to choose the time frame that makes sense for your system. If you're a longer term investor, maybe you want things like new 52-week highs. If you're a shorter term trader, maybe you're looking to take advantage of some of those swings to new highs, some of that short term momentum. You might want to look for things like a new 3-month high that's breaking out, likely to continue higher for a shorter period of time, and you're going to take advantage of that. So I want to show you how easy it is to do these. Again, you can edit any of these scans, but in one click, you get to hit one button and you get a list of all of the stocks that are making new all-time highs. In this case, 195 names making new all-time highs. Now, this is going to be a mix of stocks and ETFs, but of course you can edit this scan to start to filter that group down. Or, as you're going to see in just a minute, you can take advantage of one of my personal scans that we've got on that page further down below to look at a smaller group of stocks. Once you've clicked that big green button, though, you're taken over to the scan results page. You can see all of those right here. You can hover over the symbol to get a quick chart of any of those to see how that stock or ETF is doing. You can click on the name to actually jump over to a full-size chart. And you can also start to sort these. So if you wanted to sort them, for instance, by scooter, you want to see the strongest to the weakest. Our StockCharts technical rank lets you quickly find the leaders and avoid the laggards. Sort this by StockCharts technical rank. Now you're going to find some of the strongest names out there. Abercrombie & Fitch, Vertiv. You can see how strong these trenders are. There's Alpha Meta. We've got Super Microcomputer making a huge monster breakout today. So you can really dive into these stocks and start to filter through that list. Now, the other thing that you can do with these scan results is click this green button right up at the top to save these to a chart list. So what I would recommend doing is running these scans maybe once a day, once a week, whatever kind of system works for you. Save those to a chart list in your account. And once you do that, you can start to filter that list down. For instance, if you save this to a new list, it's going to have that name and the date right in there. We can hit save. Now we're taken over to a chart list in our account. We can actually jump over to something, for instance, like chart view. We can start to filter down this list, scroll through all of the charts. Maybe you like what you're seeing in AbbVie because you like that this is kind of just starting to break out to new highs. So you might want to leave that one in the list. Maybe ADX has gone a little bit too far for you, so you want to clear that one out. All you got to do is hit delete. So you can start to filter down this list as you go very easily. You can save any of these, you can add in any of these, you can even move them to other chart lists in your account. So really easy to start working with some of these different results once you've run those scans right from the sample scan library. Now, also, as we kind of mentioned earlier, you can edit any of these. So these scans not only are great out of the box, you can run them kind of as they are, but if you do want to start to build in your own criteria, if you want to learn how the scanning engine works, or maybe you already know how the scanning engine works and you want to add in some extra criteria, for any of these, you can hit that little edit button. And as we showed earlier, this will pull that syntax right into a scan that you can save to your own account. You can add to this. You can really start to modify this and make it your own. For instance, maybe you see that in our pre-formatted scan here for the library, we're looking at stocks over a market cap of 100 million. Well, maybe you want stocks only over a market cap of 10 billion. You want some of the larger stocks that are making new all-time highs. You can edit that little feature, hit run, either save that scan to your account or just run it as is. And you can see now we're only looking at the stocks above a market cap of 10 billion. We can see that that list has gone from 195 down to just 95. So maybe you want to target some of the larger names out there and start to modify these scans. Anything that you want to do with those sample scans, you can do. You can quickly save them to your own account, or again, just use them as is right off of this page. So that's kind of a quick intro to how to find these names that are making new highs. Again, remember the place that we started, looking at those long-term charts of some of the big winners out of market history. The thing that every winning stock shares is that it has made a series of new highs for a long period of time. So this is actually kind of straight out of my process. If we were to sit down with kind of my trading and investing system, you would see that a very, very important part of it, really kind of the engine, the flywheel of my system, is scanning for new highs. You know, it is really one of the most bullish things that a stock can do. I like to find breakouts to new highs across some of these key time frames. So what I also like to look for are stocks in a specific sort of universe, right? Instead of looking at every stock and ETF out there, I want to narrow my universe to something a little bit smaller. For me, I personally like the S&P indexes. I like the S&P 500, 400, and 600. Those are collectively called the S&P 1500. So that's a group of large, mid, and small cap stocks, but selected by Standard & Poor's, selected by S&P, and grouped into those key indexes. Obviously, you're probably familiar with the S&P 500, but if we want a mid-cap flavor, we've got the S&P 400 and a small-cap flavor in the S&P 600. So the universe that I like to look at for sort of my approach to the markets, again, just kind of to keep things narrower, keep things a little bit more manageable, I like to look at the S&P 1500. So if we scroll down this page, you'll see that under From the Experts, we've actually added a whole bunch of scans directly out of my own account. These are different things that I run. And you'll see that in parentheses, a lot of these scans have S&P 1500. So we ran that scan just a second ago for new all-time highs. That was looking at a broader universe of US stocks and ETFs. In this case, we've also got a scan directly out of my own account that's new all-time highs only in the S&P 1500. So only 1,500 names that we are scanning. Keeps that universe a little more manageable, keeps it a little bit easier to review those lists. These are some of the scans that I run every single day that really kind of power my discovery process. So again, we can hit run, we can get that list back. In this case, you'll see that we have 71 names to choose from. Still a pretty big list, but remember the scan that we ran at the beginning was 195 names. So by scanning a smaller universe like the S&P 1500, we're still coming up with a whole bunch of reasonable options that we can look at, but it's a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable. Now, we could also jump in here. I want to show you how this looks. So if we hit edit and then we hit reformat, you can see exactly how I'm doing this. We're looking for stocks. The group has to be the S&P 500 or the S&P 400 or the S&P 600. And from there, we're simply scanning for those all-time highs. Now, let's say that you wanted to only look at the large and mid-cap options. You want to only look at the S&P 900, for instance. Well, delete S&P 600. Now you're just looking at S&P 5 and 400 stocks. Again, we can hit run scan. Now we're down to 62 results. So just large and mid-cap names that we're scanning for. Again, this is how easy it is to get started with scanning thanks to this sample scan library. You can really just start to sort of narrow down this scan criteria, customize it to make it your own, or again, run it as is like you see it on this page. So we've got a whole bunch of these different scans, things that I've kind of customized. We've got leading scooters above their 50-day moving average in the S&P 1500. We've got PNF triple top breakouts that are also making a new 52-week high in the S&P 1500. Some crazier scans that we have that you can run like that, but also new all-time highs, new 52-week highs. Over on the right side, you can see 9-month, 6-month, and 3-month highs in the S&P 1500 as well. And then we also have a really interesting scan in here that is new 3-month highs, but near an all-time high. So we can get a little trickier with the scan engine, start to get a little bit more creative. If we hit edit and then look at the hit the reformat button, look at the scan syntax in there, we're looking at stocks making a new 3-month high, and that's what this line is going to be, line 5. And line 6 is going to say that the 20-day EMA, the 20-day exponential moving average, is within 10% of an all-time high. So this means that that stock is going to be trading up near an all-time high, but breaking out to a new 3-month high. So maybe it's kind of chopping around up there near all-time highs. Again, we can run these scans very, very easily. In this case, we're getting 78 results back. Stocks that are chopping around near their all-time highs, breaking out to new 3-month highs, but not yet trading at that all-time high. So strength up near an all-time high, that's something that I like to scan for. And again, in this case, we're looking at only stocks within the S&P 1500. So the power of this sample scan library, I really can't stress it enough. This is a great way to get started with scanning. One of the easiest ways that you can get started with scanning on StockCharts.com. Now, we're going to take this one step further here at the end of the show because I want to talk about how to sort of put all of the pieces together. Now, if you are new to scanning, this is probably a great place to say, okay, that's enough for me. I'm just going to start using this sample scan library as it is, and I'll start to get up and running with this process. If you want to take it to the next level, though, we've talked about how to customize these scans. We can also talk about how to schedule them to run automatically for you using what we call our scheduled scan tool. So any of the scans that you have saved into your own account can actually be scheduled on a time frame that you choose. Any day of the week, every day of the week, you get to set it up. You can schedule these scans, though, to run for you and then save those results to your StockCharts account automatically. This, when I talk about the flywheel of my system, kind of how I like to use the scanning engine, this is how it works. So I want to show you how easy it is to kind of set up some of this process, again, using that sample scan library. So let's say that you want to scan every day for stocks making new 52-week highs. That's a pretty common scan that we hear a lot of people running. So you're going to come on over to that sample scan library. You're going to find that new 52-week highs scan, and you're going to hit edit. This is how you're going to pull that scan syntax kind of right into the workbench. Hit reformat. I like to do that because it kind of cleans up those scans. But once you've pulled in that scan syntax, that scan code into the workbench, you're then going to save this scan to your own account. So hit save as right up here, another big green button. Type in a name. So you'll name this something like new 52-week highs. Okay. So you're going to save that scan to your account. Now, I've already done that, so I'm actually going to hit cancel here, but you're going to hit that big green button once again, save that scan to your own account. You haven't had to write any scan syntax at this point. You've just come over to the sample scan library, you hit edit on that new 52-week highs scan. That's going to pull that into the workbench here. You're going to save that scan to your own account. Once you've done that, you're going to navigate over using this tab right here to our scheduled scans page. When you do that, you're going to get a very easy to fill out kind of form right here. Now you can see all of the scheduled scans that I have in my own personal account, but in your case, what you're going to do is select the scan that you've just saved. So it would look something like this, new 52-week highs. You're going to select that scan, and then you're going to choose your timing. Do you want this to run at the open? Do you want this to run at the close? Do you want this to run at a completely custom time of day? You get those options. For me, I like to use the US market close. I want to find things that are closing at a new 52-week high. So I'm going to use the US market close. And then you get to choose your run days. If you only want this to run once a week, well, uncheck all of these days and have it only run on Fridays. If you want it to run every single day, that's what I typically use. You can leave those days checked so that every day at the US market close, the scan that you select here is going to run. Then you get to choose your action. So once that scan runs, again, automatically in the background without you having to do anything, once that scan runs, you've got a couple of different options. You can save this into a new chart list, kind of like we did before with the scan results. That's going to create a new chart list in your account every single day. Or if you have existing chart lists in your account that you want to use, that you want to kind of fill up or replace, you can either merge these results into the existing chart list or replace an existing chart list. You got a couple of different options there. Choose your charting platform as well. So choose whether you're a SharpCharts user or an ACP user. You have both supported here in our scheduled scan workbench. And then you can choose whether or not you want the results emailed to you. So you will get a summary of those results every day when those scheduled scans run. Or if you just want to know that they're there in your account, you can uncheck that option. Either way, you've got that right there. Once you hit save, that scan that you set up, again, the new 52-week highs scan that we pulled in from that sample scan library, that is going to be scheduled to run in your account automatically in the background every day. So when I scroll down here, these are all of the scheduled scans that I've run in my account, that I've set up in my account. You can see it's very, very similar. We've got S&P 600 making new all-time highs. We've got S&P 1500 making new 52-week highs. We've got the Dow stocks making new all-time highs, and the NASDAQ 100 as well, two of the other universes that I like to look at. We've got S&P 900 making new 9-month highs, all of that kind of stuff. As I said, these scans really do kind of power my process. So all of these scans I've actually set up and scheduled to run automatically in my account. What I have is down here in my chart lists. If I scroll down just a little bit, you can see that I've actually got corresponding chart lists for all of these. So I've set this up in my account so that those scheduled scans for those new highs across those different time frames, they run every single day and the results get saved into these chart lists. At the end of the day, after the market closes, what I get is a list of stocks, a whole series of chart lists in my account full of all of the stocks that have made that, have sort of fit that criteria, have made new 3-month highs or new 6-month highs or new all-time highs, all of those in here automatically. So all of these lists that you're seeing right here actually get populated every single day in my account automatically without me having to do any work. And any day when I say, okay, I wonder which stocks in the S&P 900 made an all-time high today, all I have to do is jump into here and review that chart list that's been basically created for me automatically behind the scenes. So this list, for instance, gets populated every single day automatically. It's waiting for me there to go in and review those results, find the ones that I like, move those into some of my watch lists, delete the ones that I want to move on from, all of that good stuff. Very, very easy to do this. I typically use, kind of like we showed off before, the chart list view. So when I'm reviewing these different chart lists at the end of the day, I'll click through here and say, that one looks good, I'll leave it in here or move it into the watch list. This has gone a little bit too far, doesn't have a breakout that I can trade, those kinds of things. But the point is, all of those lists get filled up for me automatically. It makes it very, very easy to review the scans that I want to see without me having to go in and run anything every single day. So in the past, what you would have to do if you wanted to run the same scan every day, you'd have to actually come to StockCharts, manually run that scan and review the results. Now with our scheduled scan system, you can set up those scans, again, to just run for you automatically whenever you want in the background. The other beautiful thing about it is when you get those email results with that summary of everything that triggered that, it's a great reminder, hey, stuff is happening out there in the markets. I got to log on to my StockCharts account and go see what is moving, see what's making new highs, see what's set up as one of the highest probability names out there in today's market. So that is our show for today, digging into our sample scan library, showing you how you can find the highest probability chart setups, the highest probability trade targets in really just one click. You get to choose your time frame. Do you want 3-month highs? Do you want something a little bit bigger, like an all-time high, new 52-week highs, or something in the middle? You get to choose it, whatever fits your system. Again, the idea here is that every big winning stock in history shares one simple characteristic. It's made a lot of new highs along the way. All of those big outperformers that we talk about, all those stocks that you wish you bought years ago, well, the thing that they share is that they made new highs along the way. So this makes it incredibly easy to find those stocks that are making those new highs. Again, with that sample scan library, you don't have to do any setup. You can just navigate over to that page, hit run, and you'll see those lists of those stocks every single day. You want to take it a step further, you can save that scan to your own account, start to customize it, add in your own criteria, maybe slim down the group that you're looking at. Instead of all stocks out there in the US, for instance, you can do something like we showed with the S&P 1500, kind of narrow down your universe, make it a little more manageable. If you want to take it even one step beyond that, you can schedule that scan to run in your account every single day. Again, when I tell people about kind of the things that drive my StockCharts account, the things that drive my process as a trader, as an investor, scheduled scans really are one of them. And specifically, scheduled scans for new highs across these different time frames. That is where all of my research goes. That's where all of my ideas come from. I'm out there looking at those stocks that are making those new highs, because if I'm playing the long side, I want to buy strength. I want to buy the things that are moving higher, that are outperforming the market on the way up, that are setting up nicely, and that are likely to continue moving higher. Again, we named this show highest probability stocks because that's really what it's all about. Those stocks that are making those new highs, they have the highest probability of continuing to move higher. It's not about bottom fishing. It's about buying strength, buying high, and riding that move up as it continues. Using your stops, using your good risk management routines, and all of that stuff, of course. But finding those stocks that are making new highs is one of the most bullish things that any security can do. So our sample scan library makes it easy. Hopefully you've had some fun digging into some resources around the site that you might not have seen before. Again, things that I use every day, really can't get enough of, really does kind of power my whole process. So of course, hopefully you've had some fun seeing this stuff today, but let us know if you have any questions. Our support team is always there to help answer any questions you have about any of these different things. Remember, we do this show every Friday, digging into tools like this, digging into features around the site like this, and ultimately helping you get more value out of StockCharts. That's our mission here every Friday on StockCharts in Focus, talking about how to get more value out of these tools and features that you're seeing around the site. So it's been fun to do that with you today, especially since this is one that's kind of pulled straight from my own process. Again, my name is Grayson Rose, Director of Operations here at StockCharts.com. Great to be with you for another show. We'll be back next Friday for another one, of course. But until then, chart on, my friends.